If you are new to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
So we got a number of questions that came in on Twitter.
Let's go
Facebook.
to question number 53. Number 53, please.
Good morning. One of my gardens is very fertile, and the weeds are very hard to keep up with. I noticed yesterday that when I pulled the weeds, I loosened the soil around my beets, and they began to wilt. I suspect due to the heat. Instead, I discarded weeding, and I used the weeds to cover the soil. I know that's the potential of the weed seeds dropping off and creating more seeds. Is there any type of mulch that you would recommend during the summer? I don't have any leaves available. I know that the temperatures get very hot and expect to get hot even with and without rain. So sometimes we leave weeds in because they actually shade the vegetables in which we are growing.
Yeah, I was thinking they were right about pulling the weeds because they were shading them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And two, you can use straw, not hay, because hay is the grasses in which is grown for animal feed.
And hay could add more weeds to your garden.
Right, and you can also, like we've done this, we've pulled the weeds up and laid them on the ground as a mulch. Now, if the weeds do not have seed pods developing or flowers, you're okay. Weeds in which you've pulled out that have the beginning stages of the flowers, they will continue to develop the seed and then produce a flower. Dandelions are known for this. Pull them up, you throw them in your pull them up, put them in your compost pile, and they'll flower in the compost pile even with nothing attached to the roots. Straw is the best way. Chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings. We continue to say that over and over again because if you apply a weed and feed that's not organic on your lawn, you bring that in, that water that attaches to the grass, you're going to water, and that's going to kill your broadleaf plant.
This person was also, I think, concerned about the heat that was coming and the lack of rain. And any mulch on your plant is going to help keep that water in and keep your roots cooler and kind of protect the soil as well.
And it reminded me, I'm so mad, I haven't planted my beets yet. And it's kind of late, but
fall beets.
What?
Fall beets.
Fall beets, exactly what I'm thinking. It's like I got to get them in now.
I've got beet seeds sitting on the counter to remind me.
Yes.
Next question, Connie asked, I would like to know how to plant, how you plant your seeds in the straw. She's using mulch. Do you move it back? I sheet mulch my garden and plant the seeds right now through the straw, and it's dismal. How the best to go about doing this? We go ahead and we remove the mulch back and actually find bare soil, plant the seeds, or if it's a plant. It
kind of depends on the seed, too.
Right.
I mean, if you got a big one, you just kind of in the ground. But if you've got the tiny little seeds, then you got to be more careful.
Right, and if you're broadcasting like leaf lettuce, you can't really mulch around that.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to just take that into consideration of how you're planting your seeds, what that seed is, and more or less how it's going to grow.
All right, and that's the thing. If it's a plant start, move the mulch back, plant, and put the mulch back around it. Here's a good question: can onion seeds self-pollinate? If so, I have one onion I would like to get seeds from. Well, they do. The flowers are self-fertile, so the pollen from one florek can pollinate others' floreks on the same bulb that is flowering.
Those onions are so resourceful, aren't they?
Yeah.
One plant can produce thousands of seeds.
What's that one plant we learned about? Oh, the walking onion.
Walking onion.
I have walking onions. I love walking onions. Cool. They are the coolest things ever.
They're in your dead neighbor's backyard.
They're my dead neighbor's backyard, and that was like the very first thing one of the very first things. And if you don't know what a walking onion is, the onion gets this long stalk, and then it flops over, and it lands on the ground, and guess what? It roots. It's so cool.
It's actually got a little bulblet on the top.
Yes, a little bulblet on the top. Yeah.
Barry from Texas asks, here we have a lot of molds and gophers and sandy loam. Poison traps don't seem to work. Any good suggestions to get rid of these problems? Well,
one thing you can do is you can put down hardware mesh underneath your garden, but if you're
hardware, that's hardware mesh, isn't that the
right? And that would prevent them from coming hardware cloth.
That would be on a raised bed.
On a raised bed, you put it underneath the bottom before you put the bed down because they can't chew through that thick gauged wire.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there are.
You could trap them. Some people trap them.
other people, there's like devices in which you put in the hole and it sends out signals, or I don't know, it's not Wi-Fi, but it's it's like an ultrasonic system that will scare the moles or voles.
And the moles and the voles are there on their little devices, just like this.
And then they get their Wi-Fi. They get their Wi-Fi cut off. And they got to go.
Some people will actually encourage native wildlife like snakes into their garden to burrow and eat these plants, or these animals, these gopher and moles. Some people like that, some people don't. They'll actually encourage owls and other wildlife to come in.
How do you have a choice about snakes?
I really don't know.
You don't have a choice, and it's a good thing to have all kinds of critters in your garden, because to some degree they start to balance each other out.
Right, and then if you start spraying chemicals, you've killed everything. So you want to be very cautious of that. So with that being said, we got more questions, but I do want to thank you and Peggy for Mike for coming up from Chicago to be part of the program today.
We rode our bicycles all the way. Man, it was what a trip. We started about 3 days ago, and we finally made it to Milwaukee.
Well, we greatly appreciate
you coming on.
The insight that you had.
We love you guys.
Thank you.
We do. We just think you're fabulous, and it's great to finally meet you in person and be here in the studio.
Absolutely.
You want to say anything, Peggy? Should I turn the camera around? All right. She's that's how she hides. She gets behind the camera, and then she never has to.
I hide behind the camera a lot, too.
When she talks, she listens.
Exactly. So.
And time for one more question. How do you manage your raspberry offshoots growing up from the roots when growing in a container? Do you cut them off or what? This is in regards to a video we did about planting a raspberry plant in a container on a patio. So you can you can just trim them off, the suckers that come up, or the offshoots, or you can actually let them grow a little bit and then cut them with a trowel or snips, get down below the soil level, and remove them and plant them in another container. Now, your success rate may be hit and miss, but it's much cheaper to do that because you're getting a duplicate, you're getting another plant. Yes, you can cut them off, and all raspberry plants will do this, many berry plants will do this, even in the ground. But you can trim them off, or you can wait until they get a little more established, then get in there and cut them and remove them and put them in another container. So now you have 2 raspberry plants or berry plants rather than just one, and double your production. Thank you for checking out the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. For more, go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com for full-length in-studio video and podcast replay of Season 1. Season 2 underway and added weekly. Tweet us at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG to be part of the program.